All right, today we're going to take a trip into what is, without a doubt, the most complex and incredible machine in the known universe, your very own nervous system. We're going to break it all down, starting with the tiniest little workers and building all the way up to the grand architecture that creates, well, you. Your every thought, your every feeling, every single action. So where do we even begin?
Just think, inside your head right now is an intricate network that looks something like this. It's a biological supercomputer that's running absolutely everything, from your heartbeat to your ability to even understand what I'm saying. It is the powerful, high-speed control network that makes you, well, you.
I know. It looks impossibly complex, right? It seems like a tangled mess. But what if I told you we could understand it all just by starting with the smallest, most basic building blocks? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do.
You know, to really get a handle on any big, complicated thing, you've got to start with the foundation. And for the brain, that means we need to get to know the cells that are doing all the heavy lifting.
So our story basically has two main characters. First up, you've got the rock stars of the brain, the neurons. And then you've got their essential support crew, the often overlooked but super important glia.
So, neurons? These guys are the information messengers. Think of them as the wiring, the cables of your brain. They've got these little branches, the dendrites, that scoop up signals, and then they send that message shooting down a long cable called an axon to the next cell in the line.
But honestly, the glial cells, they're the real unsung heroes here. And get this, they actually outnumber neurons. It's not even close. For the longest time, we kind of just thought of glia as the glue that held the brain together. But now we know there's so much more. They're the maintenance crew, providing food, insulating the neurons' wiring, and even cleaning up all the waste. The neurons literally couldn't do their job without them.
Okay, so we've met the workers. But how in the world do they actually talk to each other to get anything done? How does one little cell's job scale up to become this huge, high-speed communication network? And that's a fantastic question, right? If the neurons are the wires, the signal has to somehow jump from the end of one to the beginning of the next. How does it manage to cross that gap without the message getting lost in translation?
Well, it's like this incredible electrochemical relay race. An electrical signal zips down the axon, but when it gets to that tiny gap, which is called a synapse, it has to do something really clever. It switches gears and releases this little burst of chemical messengers. These messengers float across the gap and are caught by the next neuron, which then starts the whole electrical process over again. It's just brilliant.
Now, those chemical messengers we just talked about, they aren't all the same, not at all. They're kind of like different words in the brain's own secret language, and each one carries a very specific instruction. So let's decode a few of the most important ones.
Yeah, the brain has a whole cocktail of these chemical messengers. For instance, you've got glutamate. Think of it as the brain's go signal, the green light that tells neurons to fire. It's essential for learning. Then there's GABA, which is the exact opposite. It's the stop signal, the red light that tells neurons to chill out, which keeps the whole system from getting overexcited. And of course, there's the famous one, dopamine, the feel-good chemical that powers our motivation and makes us feel rewarded.
Okay, so we've looked at the tiny stuff, the cells and how they chat. Now let's zoom way out and take a grand tour of the major neighborhoods, the big departments of the brain itself.
So this big, wrinkly outer layer, that's the cerebrum. This is basically the brain's executive suite, you know? It's where all our higher-level thinking happens. And it's split into 4 main departments, or lobes, and each one has its own special job to do.
So right up front, you've got your frontal lobe. That's the CEO, the part that's making all the plans and big decisions. Then up top, the parietal lobe is like your sensory department, processing things like touch and figuring out where you are in space. Over on the sides, the temporal lobes handle all things audio, like hearing and language. And way in the back, the occipital lobe is your own personal visual processing center, turning light into the world you see.
Okay, now let's dive a little deeper, right under the cerebrum, into what's called the limbic system. If the cerebrum is the brain's executive suite, this is the emotional heart of the whole operation. It's what drives our feelings and helps forge our memories.
And 2 of the biggest players in here are the amygdala and the hippocampus. The amygdala is kind of like your emotional smoke detector. It's always on the lookout. And the hippocampus is crucial for creating new long-term memories. They work together. So when the amygdala flags an event as being really important emotionally, it tells the hippocampus, hey, you're going to want to record this. It's the whole reason why our most emotional moments usually become our sharpest, most vivid memories. Make sense, right?
All right, last stop on our tour. Let's head down to the very base of the brain.
This is where we find the oldest, most fundamental parts, the brainstem and the cerebellum. Think of these as the mission-critical systems that just keep the lights on and the whole operation running smoothly.
The brainstem is the ultimate unsung hero, really. It handles all the critical stuff you never, ever have to think about. Your breathing, your heartbeat, swallowing, you name it. And then tucked right behind it is the cerebellum, which is the master of coordination. It's what makes sure all your movements are smooth and you stay balanced.
And there you have it. From one single neuron firing off a tiny chemical message, all the way up to lobes that plan your future, a limbic system that lets you feel love and fear, and a brainstem that keeps you alive. All of these different parts working together in perfect, beautiful sync to create the entire universe that is your consciousness.
I mean, it is just absolutely incredible when you stop and think about it. Billions of these cells are firing away inside your head right this very second, just so you can process all of this. So it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? With all that incredible machinery working in perfect harmony, what amazing thought is it creating for you in this very moment?